Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and family communication all through the lens of self-government. And in this video, I've got some great parenting advice for toddlers. In this video, I'd like to share with you some of the best parenting advice I got. Also, I want to talk about what not to do. Some things I've learned that many parents of toddlers do, but actually if they knew that there was something better, I'm pretty sure they'd change as well. Years ago, when I had a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, I decided to do treatment foster care for troubled teens, and we brought teens into our home. Now, don't lose me, I'm talking about toddlers. I had 2 toddlers of my own, and there were things that were going on with these toddlers, like tantrums and whining and trying to get someone to potty train who just didn't want to potty train. So real life toddler stuff. But I've got to tell you, I was struggling. In fact, I was power struggling with my toddlers. But then when I started going through the training to do treatment foster care for these troubled teens, I changed. I became a different mom, and something magically changed with my toddlers too. They became more content and less combative. They also potty trained. Boom, just like that. Well, the 1-year-old not yet, but the 3-year-old who was like 3.5, finally it just happened. And I realized that this happened because I learned some things in my training to be a treatment foster parent that actually made me a more secure parent. I was less emotional, and so my toddlers felt more safe and comfortable in my presence. And this changed my ability to have a positive impact and to teach them. So that's the type of thing I would like to share with you today so that you can have that same type of transformation within your own heart and in your home. So what changed me? What was it that I gained from this training for foster care teenagers that helped me with my toddlers? Well, when we went through this training, they started teaching us lots of different skills. In fact, they gave me a book of skills that was this thick. Anything that you can imagine that a child might face was covered in this book. But as I looked through this book of skills, I realized that there were just 4 skills that everything hinged on for the teens that were coming to my house, as well as for the toddlers. These 4 basic skills I call the 4 basic skills, of course, because that's their name. And so they are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. That's right. Even toddlers can learn how to disagree appropriately. Think about it. If they're whining at you, or they're hitting or pulling or biting, they're trying to tell you something, but they're not doing it in an appropriate way. As soon as they have minimal ability to communicate, they actually can be taught to disagree appropriately. So these 4 basic skills were huge. And if I could just give you one piece of advice, it's be proactive and not reactive with your toddlers, and teach them the skills they need for success so that you don't have to engage in power struggles all the time, so that they don't become afraid of you and develop behaviors where they start hiding certain things that they're doing because they're afraid how you are going to handle it. So these 4 basic skills are actually based all on some simple principles. So the first principle in these 4 basic skills is that there needs to be a connection established with the person. So that is for relationship development and in order to maintain the roles in the family. So there's parent role and child role. These roles have to be maintained, otherwise dysfunction occurs. So one of the things that we do in all of these 4 basic skills as step number 1 is to look at the person. Your eyes are the windows to your soul. And when your child looks into your eyes, when you're teaching them something, telling them no for something, or giving them an instruction of what they need to be doing, they should be feeling that love and connection from you, even if you're doing a correction. That's right. You should feel closer to your children during and after a correction than you even did before. The second step in all of the 4 basic skills is to keep a calm face, voice, and body. You can teach a child, what does it sound like when my voice is calm? What does it sound like when my voice is not calm? So they can see the difference. What does my body look like when it's calm? What does my body look like when it's not calm? So you can teach them to analyze themselves. You can practice one way or another so that then you can very easily look at your child and say, right now you're jumping up and down, and that is not a calm body. And they immediately go, wait, calm body, I know what that is. And they can choose to have a calm body right then. In fact, I saw this happen. There was a woman who invited me to come to her home to teach her family self-government, which is something that I do occasionally. And she had 12 children. And one of her little ones, he was about 2 years old. His name was Samuel. It was breakfast time. She was making breakfast for everyone. And Samuel was jumping up and down on the chair. And because of our training that we had been through, and because she had taught Samuel what it meant to have a calm face, voice, and body, and they had practiced it, she went over to Samuel, she looked right into his eyes with love and calmness, and she said, Samuel, you are not having a calm body. And immediately, before she could even finish the rest of the correction, Samuel said, okay, Mom. And he sat down on his chair and he said, I'm calm. And so she was able to praise him and move on from there and finish that correction. But how amazing that 2-year-old Samuel knew the difference between what was calm and what was not calm. Another step that all of the 4 basic skills share is the step of being able to say okay or asking to disagree appropriately. Even when a person disagrees appropriately, they say, okay, may I disagree appropriately, in order to parent to listen. So the child learns to say, I'm okay. I'm okay with you being my parent. I am also okay right now if things don't go my way, if I'm accepting a no answer or taking a correction from you. I'm okay. Now I know there's some places in the world where people say yes ma'am or something similar, and if you want to keep that, that's fine. But I really love okay because it's such a great affirmation for yourself as you're saying it that you really are okay and that this parent-child relationship is okay too. The other steps to the skills do vary from each other, but they all contain those 3 elements. And those 3 elements are huge things for toddlers to learn. They can learn all of the other steps as well to those 4 basic skills. But the biggest aha for me as I was taking this training for the teenagers was I can pre-teach my children, my tiny children. They can learn skills for how to communicate so that we don't have to have frustration. And they can also learn the skills that I'm going to use for how to praise and correct them and pre-teach them so that they're not surprised by anything, which is going to decrease their anxiety and promote more unity in our family. I'm going to be talking about something you don't want to do, a caution. But before I get to that, hit that subscribe button. You are not going to want to miss the videos that come out on this channel. And don't forget to ring the notification bell too, because then you will get notified when I come up with new things that are going to help you and your family. Here's my don't. Don't do time out. I know you're thinking, what? How can that be good advice? What else am I going to do? I don't want to hit them. For sure don't spank. That does not work. It just leads to power struggle, and it actually shuts down the prefrontal cortex. And for small children, especially toddlers, their prefrontal cortex are very underdeveloped at that stage. So they're so small anyway, you don't want to initiate emotional response so that they can't think and learn from you. So definitely spanking is wrong. And most people get that because it's not going to help with the bonding with the child. Even though it does teach cause and effect, there are better ways, more productive ways to teach cause and effect. And I know because I took in some of the most troubled teens that my state had to offer, and I could not touch them. because those children did not belong to me. So I knew there had to be a better way, and there certainly is. But I'm also saying don't use timeout, and there is a reason why. Years ago, I was visiting a friend, and her little 3 or 4-year-old started acting up. In fact, he was being a little bit rude. Well, she lost her temper with him and said, "You need to go to timeout." So she sent the child to timeout. And I knew the child was sitting in timeout. I could hear him whimpering and crying around the corner from where we were sitting. So she continued to sit and talk with me. I kind of kept a watch on the time. The time was ticking by. Soon I don't hear any whimpering sounds from the child, and I thought maybe he got up and left, because if nobody's paying attention, people wander away, right? So no teaching would then have even occurred. It's just, get out of my sight, you're bugging me. That would be the message that he would get from that type of a timeout. But he didn't walk away. In fact, finally, after 45 minutes had passed, I stood up and I said, "I think I need to use the restroom." I walked around the corner, and here was the child fast asleep on the timeout spot. My heart hurt. Hurt for the child and hurt for the mother, because the mother spent all of her time talking to me and did not do any of the teaching for the child. She didn't get the opportunity to teach and bond with the child, and the child did not get any lesson from that except for, my mom is bugged by me, my mom doesn't like me, my mom doesn't want me around her. And so that's what happened. He got banished to timeout, and he fell asleep. And by the time he wakes up, is he going to remember at all what he did? Is she going to even remember fully what he did? I don't know. But it really hurt me, and I thought, this is not effective. This method is not effective. Now, you might say, well, the way she handled it is not effective. That's definitely true. If a parent is going to use a timeout, they need to make sure that they are paying attention to what is going on the timeout, and they don't talk to friends, answer the door, answer their phone, things like that. Definitely. But they also could do something even better than timeout. So what's that better thing? I call it a calm down spot. So let's talk about this calm down spot. What does that look like? So it still is a space where a person goes to, just like timeout is a space, but there's different rules. So the calm down spot is just a trigger spot. So it's a place to get calm, which means if the person is already calm, which in our family means they are in instructional control. This means that they can do all 5 steps of following an instruction, which are to look at the person, to keep a calm face, voice, and body, to say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, and then check back. If they can do all 5 of those things and they are keeping calm and everything, then they do not need to go to a calm down spot. The whole point of the spot is just to get calm. So what I do is I train my children ahead of time about the calm down spot. And I say, okay, so this is a place where we go if we need help getting calm and remembering to do our 5 steps of following an instruction. We only would go here until we're calm. If on the way to the calm down spot, you take a breath and say, okay, Mom, I'm calm, then we are not going to go to the calm down place. I will praise you, and then we will do the teaching that needs to happen, and you won't need to have a time to calm down because you already got calm. Also, if you go to the calm down place and immediately you take a breath, okay, Mom, I'm calm, then I will immediately come and give you a big hug and a high five, and then we will talk about the situation, and you won't need to stay in the calm down place any longer. So same rules apply for timeout. Don't answer the phone, don't answer the door, don't talk to your friends, stay in the area. You don't need to stare them down or anything, especially if you have a little bit of a dramatic performer. They may escalate a little bit more if you are giving them a little bit too much attention. But I know that some people struggle keeping their children in the calm down place. This is why we want to practice what the calm down place is for ahead of time. This decreases anxiety so they don't think that they are put in this spot and they have to stay there for who knows how long. So keep that in mind, and you're going to be checking with them regularly and making sure they understand they need to keep a calm face, voice, and body, look at you, say okay, all of those 5 steps to following an instruction. And as soon as they can do those things, then we just move on. They get the opportunity to go through a corrective teaching with you, and they get the opportunity to earn an age-appropriate extra chore. So this is a key thing. The calm down place is not a negative consequence. It's just a trigger spot. When many people use timeout, they use it as a negative consequence. And I think in their minds, they think, well, if you're not behaving enough to be around people with good social skills, then you can't be with people, and that's your negative consequence. That doesn't really compute in the minds of a little toddler, actually. And quite frankly, it's very punitive. Instead, give them the opportunity to do something so that they can accept their negative consequence. So a little age-appropriate chore is perfect for little toddlers. So we go to the calm down place to get calm, then we do a teaching, practice things the right way, and do an age-appropriate chore. Now there are words for all of this, and I want to make sure that you have some of those. There are so many skills that I teach in my Teaching Self-Government course. I highly recommend checking those out so that you can have all of the words that you need. But to begin with, the words that you have inside your head that help you get to calmness and help them get to calmness are some of those words I want to share with you first. So I have a mini course called the Calm Parenting Toolkit. And because you've stayed all the way to the end of this video, I would like to give you that Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. So in the description below this video, there's a link that says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. Click on that link now, and it will take you to the Calm Parenting Toolkit, where you will learn key skills and words that go on inside yourself, as well as things you say on the outside, to help you and your child develop a more calm relationship. And it will be a good first step for you on the road to learning all of the skills of self-government.